Season 2 of the Fallout TV show is returning this year. Earlier today was the first day of Upfront, a week-long event where ad and TV companies share news and reveals, like the fact that the Fallout TV show is already renewed for a third season, and Season 2 is coming out in December 2025. During the event, the 3 stars came out to share the news and the fact that the Fallout TV show has been watched by 100 million different people. The entire event is kind of themed around advertising opportunities. It's more of a business-focused event. So we do get this pretty fun in-universe demo of Cooper Howard filming a bunch of pre-war ads for Vault-Tec, things like atomic sunscreen or taking your family to the lucky. Even as small as that was, yeah, it's amazing. Here we can see how Lucy the Ghoul and Dogmeat are going to a largely destroyed Las Vegas strip, quite similar to how we see it at the end of Season 1 of the TV show. And don't fret, even though things do look quite destroyed here, there has been quite a bit of other news thanks to set photo leaks around the TV show, and I will share that throughout the rest of this video. I was even able to visit some of these sets myself, but this is the first time we're getting to see the fully CGI strip. You of course can see the iconic Lucky 38 in some of the strip destruction, but otherwise there's not much to break down here. But I do think buried with the announce is December, but of course during this ad, Cooper Howard mentions a Christmas holiday to the Lucky 38. We see the cast come out in Santa hats, so it does feel a little bit on the nose that, yeah, Christmas is likely the date they're considering, but maybe they just didn't officially reveal that for one reason or another, perhaps giving themselves a bit of wiggle room in case they can't actually hit it, or if they want to come out even earlier. And Season 3 getting renewed before the official release of Season 2 feels even more significant. They're turning around Season 2 incredibly quickly, but it sounds like they just want to get right back to it and work on Season 3 almost instantly. So over the last few weeks, we've been seeing a ton of news and even leaks around the Fallout TV show, some of these being pretty massive reveals for Season 2, to the point where some of you won't want to know about this. So for this segment of the video, I'm going to work in terms of least spoilery content to most spoilery content. So if you want some of those really hard-hitting leaks, they're going to come at the end of this video, but otherwise, the New York Times just dropped an article with some exclusives on the show. The real crux of the article was filmmaking going back to California thanks to a bunch of tax cuts, something that Fallout Season 2 just did. But the big reveal we got was this photo of Freeside, which we have simply not seen, at least from this perspective, previously. Of course, Freeside is the town just outside of the strip's walls in Fallout New Vegas, and this photo looks like a very accurate representation of that. It's not the highest resolution, but we can make out what looks like a variety of actors in costumes. Freeside definitely appears to be populated here, and off to the side, some fans think they even spotted some members of the Kings, one of the factions that appears in Freeside during the events of Fallout New Vegas. Some of the past rumors have suggested that the Kings will be making an appearance during this segment of the TV show, but the big thing is, we don't actually know when this is all happening. The vast majority of the set photos for the last few months have been around this freeform set that has parts of the strip, the Vegas signs, and even these campers, which many are speculating are new additions to Freeside. This set was getting a ton of the coverage, and shortly thereafter, we saw the proper Vegas strip set get built. This being the set you've probably been seeing on social media. Basically all of the major casinos and even Vault 21 had their entrances and signs rebuilt, and it was easily one of the most revealing and coolest things we've seen from the leaks thus far, at least until what I show you later on in this video. But as the months went by and filming continued, fans realized that this set actually pops up in 3 different conditions. One is definitely pre-war. Things look immaculate with all the lights on, and I've even seen some clips of pre-war filming going on, but they do have major plot spoilers, so I'm not going to share them here. Another part of the filming is post-war, seemingly before our protagonists arrive here. I was actually able to visit the set in person during this phase, and yeah, the accuracy of this strip is genuinely insane. Like, as you walk up to all of these fake signs and props, it really feels like you're walking up to the Fallout New Vegas strip. It was a surreal experience for me. But then, a couple of weeks after I visited this set, we saw it in an even more destroyed state. Not just weathered like it was in the initial post-war stance, but now some of the buildings are actually destroyed with visible damage to them and many things around. So it seems like we'll see the Vegas Strip in 3 major phases. There'll be plenty of pre-war scenes, a lot of filming was done pre-war. This will likely be when we see most of Mr. House in Season 2 of the Fallout TV show. Todd Howard's one ask to the showrunners was not to confirm a canon ending to Fallout New Vegas, so if House was ever to pop up post-war, that does sort of confirm a canon ending. And with how much of a hit some of those pre-war scenes were from Season 1, it just seems like post-war Vegas Strip with House building his empire will be a considerable part of Season 2. Some are speculating that this first post-war strip could be a New Vegas flashback, considering things do look quite similar to how they did during New Vegas. The Fallout TV show takes place another 15 years after the events of Fallout New Vegas, and that is perhaps where the very destroyed version of the set will come into play. This destroyed set most closely resembling how we see the strip in the Season 1 finale credits. So right now, the speculation is we have pre-war strip scenes heavily featuring House, Vegas-era flashback scenes where we just see the strip going on and maybe what even happened to the NCR and the strip, and then finally the current show timeline, which is this far more destroyed variant of the strip. The Vegas strip was highly visible to the public, so we have the most info on this set, while conversely, this Freeside set just wasn't. So it really isn't clear if this is going to be pre-war, post-war, or just the current TV show timeline. Many are speculating that the reason things are so populated is because this is a pre-war variant of Freeside before the bombs dropped. But either way, this makes it abundantly clear that a major portion of Season 2 of the Fallout TV show will be headed to New Vegas. We will see the strip during multiple timelines and even Freeside. And we will see the journey of arriving at the strip as well. A variety of early set photos showed some of the major stops that Lucy, the Ghoul, and Dogmeat will make along the way. We can see them adventuring into a post-war Starlight Drive-In, something that is totally new for New Vegas and a minor retcon. The big stop will be Novak. We can see both the Novak sign as well as Dinky the dinosaur being built. It's not really clear what will happen here. 15 years or so have gone by, so while New Vegas characters could pop up, they don't necessarily have to. You can easily justify them being missing after 15 years in the apocalypse. But all that's actually relatively old. Those are some of the earlier set photos that were coming out, and since then, this Vegas strip set has been totally taken down, while some of the more recent leaks are even more revealing. These are still relatively minor spoilers though, with the big stuff coming later in this video, as it also seems like we might be going to a pre-war Camp McCarran, or maybe it's just the McCarran Airport at this stage. At the time of Fallout New Vegas, Camp McCarran is one of the main NCR bases that you can find, but during pre-war, this was just McCarran International Airport. From this batch of leaked set photos, we could see an outdoor billboard featuring Cooper Howard, which is leading many to believe that there's going to be some scenes here that's basically going to be a continuation of his Vault-Tec advertising campaign, just like we saw him conducting in Season 1. Cooper Howard, aka the Ghoul, basically became a spokesperson for the Vaults and Vault-Tec. And what has been drawing a ton of attention from fans are some of the props that pop up in the interior of some of these airports. Two real-world but now defunct airlines are featured here, with both TWA and Ward Air. This is surprising. Ward Air less so, but TWA in particular is incredibly notable. TWA was the airline in the 60s and 70s, which on one hand is almost the exact aesthetic of Fallout, and TWA even still exists somewhat today. At my home airport of JFK, there is a TWA hotel. This is themed like a 1960s terminal, using the old TWA terminal, and really meant to be an experience. It feels super old school, and I've honestly been looking for an excuse to stay here before one of my upcoming flights. It's pretty expensive. So TWA popping up in Fallout is new, weird, and just curious. I saw some saying that they would just replace all of these TWA logos with CGI, but that doesn't really make any sense. It's a lot cheaper to just rework a chalkboard, the physical prop, instead of doing CGI replacements, which of course takes a lot more time and money. So I could see this going one of two ways. Either A, maybe they're actually doing some filming at the real-life TWA hotel. Again, it looks like a 1960s airport terminal, which, if they're going to be filming some pre-war scenes with Cooper Howard doing stuff in a airport terminal, yeah, that could work really well. But at the same time, TWA was founded by real-life billionaire Howard Hughes, who is the main inspiration for Mr. House. So perhaps TWA's sign will just be something you see in the background, and it's all just a nice tie-around tease to the real inspiration for Mr. House. Although this also does seem to retcon Vault 21 as being pre-war, assuming these are pre-war scenes in the first place. But then diving even a bit deeper into spoiler territory, one really big spoiler was spotted at the Vegas strip set. So if you don't want a major episode event ruined, you may want to skip ahead to the next section. But fans have spotted a new form of NCR power armor and even an animatronic Deathclaw at the strip set. This further backed up by a series of scratches and general Deathclaw damage to many of the casinos and other buildings, with this power armor basically being designed as an anti-Deathclaw armor for the NCR to go head-to-head with a Deathclaw. From some of the filming notices, we know that a dog handler as well as a large 40-foot tall explosion is set off at this set. So now many are thinking that one of the major scenes in Season 2 is this Deathclaw fight, likely involving Lucy, the Ghoul, a Deathclaw, but then also maybe a mini nuke for that giant explosion. Even in Fallout, there aren't many things that can create a 40-foot tall explosion. I've seen some separate leaked photos of this power armor, armor where it looks like it has some launching tubes on its wrists, so I do wonder if it's not this power armor launching mini nukes at the Deathclaw, but of course this does have the fairly large implication that the NCR isn't totally wiped out. In Season 1, we don't see much of them, but clearly in Season 2, at least at the location of the Vegas Strip, there's at least one member of the NCR still kicking, and it very much so seems like that is at least close to the current ongoing show timeline. If the NCR are well equipped enough to have a Deathclaw fighting power armor that they seemingly made in the past few years or so, that does suggest to me that they aren't completely wiped out. And this could be Lucy and the Ghouls' first real introduction to the NCR as a larger force and faction. Much of the most recent filming for the Fallout TV show has taken place in downtown LA, so these images don't inherently have a ton of spoilers, and they really just show off some of the generic Wasteland sets that are being built here. But who we can see in some of these set photos does contain massive spoilers. So if you don't want to know which factions are going to be around in Season 2 of the Fallout TV show, including ones we have not necessarily known about in Season 1, yeah, perhaps skip this part. But if you don't mind, both the NCR and Legion will have major forces present during Season 2. The NCR we of course have known about. We could see their remnants in Season 1, but in Season 2 we could see a much larger force will be present. One of the images being a bunch of the soldiers lined up and well equipped, clearly showing that the NCR has some organization and manpower still, and separately a group of NCR soldiers standing, including one that seems to be wearing the iconic NCR riot gear from Lonesome Road, which is really cool. It's just cool to see some of the DLC content making it into the TV show. But that is really all we have for the NCR right now, and all of this is incredibly difficult to piece together. Of course, one of the big controversies with Season 1 was the off-screen destruction of the NCR and Shady Sands. And a big part of this frustration was we don't actually know what happened here. We don't see many NCR members in Season 1, but it's not really clear if they were wiped out by the battle for the Strip. We could see an NCR vertibird in the credits next to fallen Deathclaws and Securitrons, or hey, maybe they just moved. The NCR could have just shifted their focus to other areas, perhaps after Shady Sands was nuked or the Strip fell. They don't have to all have been wiped out. We don't really know what happened to all of them. So as we reference some of these images, it's really hard to know what's going on. Some of these could be at the time of Fallout New Vegas, some of those earlier shots, or this could all be in the current timeline, showing the NCR with strong forces and healthy numbers. Although we do have far more extensive images of the Legion. It's not really clear how much of the Legion we're going to see in Season 2 of the show. This is the first time they popped up in at least the public set photo leaks. I won't spoil it here, but I have heard how at least one of the big name actors to join Season 2 of Fallout will be a member of the Legion, and that does make me think we will see at least a decent amount of this faction. The Legion clearly have healthy numbers, and the area they are in looks to be pretty similar to some of those NCR shots. Many fans are automatically assuming we're going to get an NCR versus Legion conflict because, yeah, that just kind of makes sense. But at the same time, this is Kilter Films, and they really love to play with multiple timelines, kind of how I highlighted even earlier in this video. So I wouldn't assume we're getting the Legion versus NCR. We could be seeing the NCR at a different time than the Legion. But at the very least, this season will feature more Fallout. We already know we're going to be seeing the NCR, the Legion, Deathclaws, new types of power armor, and it's very likely the Brotherhood of Steel will return as well. Although, funny enough, as far as I've seen, no Brotherhood of Steel set photos have leaked, at least as of right now. But what may very well be the single biggest Season 2 plot spoiler comes last. So if you are wanting to avoid at least one of the fairly major plot lines that's likely to play out over Season 2, skip this part of the video. This is easily the biggest spoiler yet, because what has been spotted right in the same filming locations as these new Legion photos is a bunch of Vault Dwellers. And very notably, these are people in Vault 33 and 31 suits. So that is a giant reveal. This not only confirms that the Vault 33 residents will eventually escape their vault and make it out into the Wasteland, but they also woke up some of the cryogenically frozen Vault Tech executives in Vault 31, or at least that's my assumption from seeing the Vault 31 vault suit. If you don't remember this from the show, it's eventually revealed that Vault 31 was set up by Bud Askins to house Bud's Buds, a bunch of cryogenically frozen Vault Tech executives that were trained by Bud. And yeah, this one's a pretty big spoiler. It'll likely be a multi-episode plotline of the Vault residents waking up people in Vault 31 and eventually convincing them to escape the Vault altogether. But even further, considering we could see the Legion right in the same rough location as the Vault Dwellers, it seems pretty likely that these two groups are going to interact. Perhaps the Vault Dwellers broke out, adventure into a different location compared to Lucy, and ended up running into the Legion instead of whatever Lucy ran into. With some other fans even speculating that the Vault Dwellers could end up caught between an NCR and Legion conflict here, and that's our main introduction into both of those factions.